Today on Public Eye News, NMU is hosting its fall job fair, and we hear more about Brett Kavanaugh hearings.
Samantha Carter joins us later for the show for a rundown of the NMU sports, and Caleb Rydell has our weather forecast. Hi, I'm Grant Lukens.
And I'm Erica Flint. Welcome to October and this edition of Public Eye News. Northern Michigan University's 51st annual fall semester job fair will be held on the 16th of October. This is an opportunity for students and alumni to ask employers what positions they have available. This includes the ability to participate in an internship program. Employers, students, and alumni who wish to attend are asked to register on the Career Tracks website prior to the event. Students and alumni are asked to bring an ID for check-in on the day of the job fair and to be entered into a drawing for a chance to be one of 10 prize winners. The job fair will be from 1 to 4 p.m. on Tuesday, the 16th of October at the University Center. Michigan Tech students are gaining real-world forestry analysis experience thanks to a new program offered by the Michigan North Woods Club. Students from the university's School of Forest Resources and Environmental Science have been collecting data from the 9,000-acre property that relate to topics involving invasive species, fire danger, and forest management, etc. Michigan North Woods Club host member Stu Bradley said that he's looking forward to getting the data from the Michigan Tech students and implementing their analysis into their future forest management plan.
Hundreds of people attended the third annual Run for the Lakeview 5K on Saturday, despite the chilly temperatures. The run followed the bike path from Lakeview Arena to the Madsen Lower Harbor Park and back. The race will make junior hockey more affordable for children who can't afford the higher registration fees. A gray wolf captured in Minnesota is to be relocated to Isles Royale National Park has died in transit. The National Park Service plans to move 20 to 30 wolves to the Lake Superior Wilderness in order to rebuild their once great population numbers. 2 wolves, a 4-year-old female and a 5-year-old male, were successfully moved here earlier this week. However, despite the National Park Service's best efforts, 1 female has passed away. The Park Service plans to adjust procedures to prevent this from happening again.
A 73-year-old man was rescued from his sailboat by the Coast Guard on Manitou Island Saturday morning. The Coast Guard Sault Ste. Marie Command Center received a distressed Mayday radio message at 5:30 a.m. stating that the sailboat was hard aground on rocks. A MH-60 helicopter was dispatched from the air station in Traverse City. Communication was established around 8:35 a.m. and direction-finding radio equipment was used to determine the distressed mariner's location. He was then hoisted to safety by a rescue swimmer and transported to local emergency services. The Coast Guard reminds mariners that the following information is invaluable for search efforts to be successful. Share your float plan with family and friends. Have life jackets, distress flares, VHF radios, and operable electronic position indicating beacons. In other news, multiplayer video games are up for consideration as a new varsity sport in high schools across Michigan. According to MLive.com, esports were discussed in Frankenmuth at the Michigan High School Athletic Association's annual meeting. A minimum of 64 schools must sponsor the activity before MHSAA will consider adding it. Executive Director Mark Uhl says there are benefits to adding the new sport, especially if it attracts students who don't participate in traditional sports. After this break, we'll be back with your international and national news.
The number one rule of political watchdog reporting is follow the money. Corporation funnels money to a dark money group. They send out postcards attacking the opponent. When that candidate gets elected, they support the agenda of the corporation.
They know how to manipulate the system.
I don't know how to fight them because I don't know who they are.
We don't even know if they're domestic.
This is scary stuff, but I think this is the proving ground for the American experiment.
Tonight at 10 and tomorrow at 1 p.m.
Welcome back. Tesla and their CEO Elon Musk have agreed to pay $40 million to the United States government in a settlement due to Musk supposedly duping investors with misleading statements about a buyout of the company. The settlement said Musk can remain CEO, but he must relinquish his title as chairman, meaning Tesla must hire a chairman from out of the company. The announcement came after the Securities Exchange Commission, or SEC, filed a case to oust Musk from the CEO position of the company. The FBI is now investigating the sexual misconduct claims against Judge Brett Kavanaugh that have stalled his Supreme Court nomination and divided American voters. Major Garrett is at the White House with more.
They have to have the ability to pursue the evidence. You look at
Judiciary Committee Democrat Amy Klobuchar warned the White House has tried to protect Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh by ordering a narrow investigation.
They cannot say, oh, hey, only interview the people in their neighborhood on one side of the street.
The FBI will not pursue allegations from Julie Swetnick that Kavanaugh was present at parties in the early 80s where women were given excessive amounts of alcohol and sexually assaulted. New transcripts show in an interview with the Judiciary Committee last week, Kavanaugh called Swetnick's allegations total BS. She's lying, Kavanaugh said.
The Swetnick thing is a joke. That is a farce.
A new front in the Kavanaugh saga, how truthful he was about his drinking habits in high school and college. The FBI may investigate that.
I did not drink beer to the point of blacking out.
A Yale College classmate of Kavanaugh's, Charles Chad Ludington, said Kavanaugh tried to deceive the Senate by downplaying his drinking habits. Ludington says on multiple occasions he saw Kavanaugh staggering from alcohol consumption. When Brett got drunk, he was often belligerent and aggressive. Ludington added he would take my information to the FBI.
They have free reign. They're going to do whatever they have to do, whatever it is they do.
On Sunday, lawyers for Christine Blasey Ford said she has not heard from the FBI. But the FBI did interview Deborah Ramirez, another Yale College classmate who told The New Yorker that during a drunken dorm room party in the early 80s, Kavanaugh thrust his penis in her face and caused her to touch it without her consent.
It was announced by the South Pacific airline Air Niugini that a passenger died from a plane crash last week. Air Niugini's Boeing 737 crashed near the Chuuk Island International Airport runway on Friday. At first, it was reported that all 47 passengers and crew had survived, but the next day, one passenger had not been accounted for. Witnesses had reported that he had reached a dinghy, but on Monday, divers in the lagoon found the man's body. Air Niugini's outreach team is in touch with the man's family, and they are making arrangements to repatriate his body. Today marks the one-year anniversary of the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. 58 people were killed and hundreds more injured after a gunman opened fire at a country music festival in Las Vegas. Chris Martinez shows us how the victims are being remembered.
As the sun rose over Las Vegas Monday morning, hundreds gathered to remember the victims of the Route 91 Harvest Festival massacre, killed 1 year ago today.
We can't let this define us and let evil win. We must continue to fight. I refuse to let it take one more thing from me.
Organizers released 58 doves, one for each victim killed, when a gunman fired into the audience of 22,000 country music fans from a hotel window on the Vegas Strip. In addition to those killed, more than 800 were injured and thousands remain affected by the tragedy. Many came back here to Las Vegas to mark the grim anniversary. Among them, survivor Cynthia Garcia of California.
It seems like it was just yesterday, to be honest. No one understands the way we feel. You know, the terror that we had that night, the sadness that we have for the 58. It's just overwhelming.
Overwhelming, too, for families of the victims like Angelica Cervantes. Her son, Eric Silva, was working security that night. He's one of the men and women captured in these portraits, painted to honor the lives lost.
The most painful for me.
That pain a year later, she says, every bit as strong as on day one. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Las Vegas.
And after this break, we will be back with your weather and sports. Stay tuned.
Donald Trump says, "Can I expect loyalty from you?"
Comey sees danger.
President Trump, he knows a shakedown when he sees it. The call for a special counsel just gets louder.
Justice Department appointed a special counsel.
Bob Mueller cares about one thing: indicting bad guys and putting them in prison.
The president is trying to control the Justice Department's investigation into him.
Phony Russia witch hunt.
That's extraordinary.
Tuesday at 9 p.m. and Thursday afternoon at 1.
Welcome back. I'm Caleb Bradell, going to be taking you through your weather for today. As you can see outside on the NMU campus, it is a bit gloomy out there, and that doesn't look like it's going to be changing. Taking a look at our current conditions, we're looking at cloudy out there with a temperature of 50 degrees, winds out of the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour, and a barometric pressure of 30.35 inches and falling. Taking a look tonight, we're going to see partly cloudy out there with a low of 41 and winds out of the east at 8 miles per hour. Taking a look tomorrow, we're going to see partly cloudy out there with a high of 54 degrees and winds out of the east-southeast at 6 miles per hour. Taking a look across the UP, we're going to see a little bit of sunshine peeking out in the bottom, but and a little bit of rain up top. We're going to start up in Sault Ste. Marie with 53 degrees. Manistee with 54, Escanaba with 56, and down in Menominee also 56. Taking a look at the western half of the UP, Iron Mountain 52, and we have our rain over 46 in Ironwood. Up in the Keweenaw and Houghton with 47, also a little bit of rain, and back here in Marquette, we got those clouds and 50 degrees. Let's take a look at your week ahead. On Wednesday, we're looking at a high of 69, a low of 45, and some thunderstorms out there, with Thursday having a high of 48, a low of 39, partly cloudy. The showers are going to be back Friday when we have a high of 46 and a low of 42. Well, we got a lot of rain out there, and things are looking gloomy, and I hear things were looking gloomy also for the NMU soccer team.
Unfortunately, the women's soccer team were not able to pull off a win this weekend. The Northern Michigan University women's soccer team took on the Michigan Tech Huskies at home this weekend. In the first half, the Huskies outshot the Wildcats 12-8, but NMU's strong defense left the first half scoreless. Unfortunately, the Huskies continued to outshoot the Wildcats throughout the second half and eventually made the game's only goal. The final count of the shots on goal was 27-12 by the end of the game, and the final score was 1-0. After 3 straight home matches, the Wildcats hit the road next weekend against Davenport University and Grand Valley State University. The number 21 ranked Northern Michigan University men's soccer team traveled to Saginaw Valley State University, where they had their second scoreless draw of the season. The men's soccer team has now been unbeaten for their last 8 games and has held off opponents for shutouts in their last 5. It's been 512 minutes and 41 seconds since NMU surrendered a goal, with the last opponent goal coming from Davenport University on September 15th. The Wildcats' next game will be on the NMU soccer field Wednesdays at 3:30. Week 4 of the NFL wrapped up with mixed reactions coming out of the NFC North. Ranked first out of the division, the Chicago Bears defeated the Buccaneers at home 48-10 and have now left fans hopeful of the Bears' offense, looking forward to the rest of the season. All eyes were on the Green Bay Packers defense as the team recorded their first shutout since 2010 in their 22-0 victory over the Buffalo Bills. The Packers will travel to Detroit to face the Lions next Sunday at 1 p.m. And speaking of the Lions, they're currently at the bottom of the NFC North. They're now 1-3 after losing to the Dallas Cowboys 24-26 yesterday. But that's all the time we have for you here today at Public Eye News. Tune in again tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.